Today in the farm we have a chicken run being built by David. He is attaching the chicken run to the existing fence so that we only have to put on a couple of sides, and so that I'll have the chicken right next to me in the garden, which I love. And we have 2 new friends, and we're getting 4 new friends, so we're gonna have 8 chicken total. So we can't really have free-ranging chicken around the neighborhood. These 2 chicken that we started with have literally gone to every neighbor's house. We find them in their garages, we find them in their bushes, they dig up their mulch. I'm chasing 2 chicken all day long, so they are now quarantined with the 2 new ones, with a little, wire in between, and they're getting to know each other. It's kind of wild. You look at the gardens and it looks amazing. It looks like it is thriving. And then you go closer, which you have to do, and you have to do a few times a day. My minimum right now is 3 times a day, and that's how I'm catching everything that's becoming a problem. You go out and you see the slugs on the cabbage leaves and on the pepper leaves, and you see cabbage worm, and you see eggs, and you see green aphids on the back of your tomatoes, and my squash leaves have like a rust kind of color to them. I need to work on some defense against beetles. So it's one of those things where if you don't go early morning or late evening, you could miss a lot of this stuff. Like the slugs, you're gonna miss them if you're not out at those 2 ends of the day. So doing a walkthrough, Dave and I will do walkthroughs. We'll do a walkthrough together. But I do my more investigative garden walks early morning, late evening, and you will catch that stuff. We're kind of joking that this first year of this big garden has become like everything. Like there's nothing that seems that we aren't dealing with. It is the year of learning, which I had declared it to be. I did not know the universe would take me quite so seriously, but it is. So we're learning. So it's the walk. You've got to touch your leaves. You've got to touch the plants. You've got to look at the soil. You've got to see what's going on. Cut in and take out these outer leaves on these baby greens, and they have been growing for weeks. Let's see if I can give you. These would be great in grow bags. And then there's arugula, a ton of arugula. It is so delicious. Same thing. I'm just taking as many leaves as I want, and it grows right back over and over. And some of this has started to bolt because it is so hot, and when that happens, sometimes you can just eat the little flowers. There's been a lot of little flowers that we've eaten on top of the salad, but then it can start to go really bitter, so you can just pull that plant. I had started more little babies down here, but it may just get too hot. We may never even actually get there. And then the peas are looking gorgeous. Starting to get some baby snap peas here. And then the snow peas have been great. That flower is a daikon radish that we didn't have time before it got too hot to get the root established. So we've been letting it grow, and it's the most gorgeous thing. And you can eat it, it's all edible, but we're waiting to see if we can get some little seed pods and harvest those. Let me stand back so you can see. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 7 radish plants. And then it's providing this wonderful shade for the peas, and the carrots back there tucked in. The peas don't like it this hot. Neither does the lettuce. But we're doing good so far. This is looking a little wilty down here. Again, all of this would be great in grow bags as well, which I'll show you guys. I'm just gonna take some of these out of these right now. So when we first decided to move into this homesteading way of living. I did a lot of listening to what other people who had, come before me said. And I took what they said and I kind of put it in like a little pocket. So I had all this information that I gathered. And it helped me inform the decisions that we would make. It doesn't mean that because someone said something, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it this way. What it did was it gave me all of these different ideas so that I could kind of pick and choose and say, oh, that sounds like a good idea, or that isn't really for me. And one of the things I heard someone say, and I can't remember who it was some random video I saw, she said, if I could go back, one thing that I would do is I would get grow bags. I think it was an urban homesteader. She said I would get grow bags and not wait till I could build all of my raised beds. And I just thought I'd show you a grow bag. This is a really big one. This is like 20 gallons. This is one, I'm using these for potatoes. What else do I have? I have a tomato in here with some herbs. So these are the huge ones. I have much smaller ones too. You can see how big it is, right? So you can pack a lot in here. So this, instead of, let's see, I think a 5-pack of this size is like 20 bucks maybe. So not too bad per bag. And then you can fill it with some of your own soil if you have native soil that you can use. If you're more urban, you can just go to the store and buy some bags. You can buy some compost to mix in with some, either raised bed soil or potting soil. So these are incredible. So that was one of the things that I heard. And I thought, all right, well, we have sort of an issue here with we need to get this fence done, but I want to get things started early enough. So I started in grow bags. And then things like potatoes. I didn't have enough room in my garden, so I'm using the grow bags for potatoes. That way I can kind of take them out of the main garden area, grow them along the fence. I'm not worried about animals eating them. And we should have, knock on wood, a good potato harvest. The other thing that happened is we got a bunch of strawberries, like bare root strawberry plants. So I threw those in grow bags till I can decide where I actually want to grow my strawberries. Our tomatoes got sick. They had septoria leaf very early on, like way early on. And I got nervous, so I started more tomato plants in case those plants didn't make it. They did. We've treated them. They're doing really well. And I can certainly talk more about that another time. But now I have all these tomato plants, I think they're outside right now, that need to be potted somewhere because there's not really space in the garden. The idea was that they would take the place of the ones that had died. So I just ordered a bunch of grow bags and I'm just going to throw the tomatoes in there, put them along areas of the fence where I could trellis them, where there's space. If you did not have that kind of space, you can put them right on your front porch. You could put them on a balcony and you just get a stake and you can trellis them right on that stake. You can tie them right up. So the grow bags are an incredible resource if you don't have space or you don't have the resources right now to build a fence or to build raised garden boxes. These are absolutely, and they're good looking, I think, a nice black, dark bag that looks much cooler than a pot, I think. I'm not a big fan of some of the pots they sell. So this is a great aesthetic wise. Maybe that's important. Right now we just have them, I'm looking at them right now, we have them growing all along the outside of the fence, the front section of the fence. We can move them if we need to move them. The only thing I would say about grow bags is that you do need to keep them watered. I don't find that they hold water as well as some other things like a raised bed. So you want to water them a little bit more. And from what I've heard, potatoes like to be evenly watered. So I'm trying to keep up with that on, every couple days, make sure I have some water in there. When I started a bunch of herbs in my seed trays, I had a ton of tiny itsy bitsy, you know how little itsy bitsy those herbs are? I put them in the grow bags. So you could do this if you didn't have any sort of yard outside. You could start your seeds inside and get the 5-gallon. They're really cute. They're about this big around. They have handles. Get those grow bags, a little bit of soil, and you could grow fresh herbs to have all summer long. I don't have many plants of each herb, but I'm continuously harvesting because I'm picking. And then if I know that I want another succession, then I go ahead and start those seeds. So you could get one bag started and then get another bag started a couple weeks later. You can go to the store also and just grab herbs that are already potted up from a greenhouse. I'm going to show you how I deal with a whole basket of mixed greens. So I've got herbs, beet greens, lettuce, spinach. I've got everything in here. So what I do is I fill a bunch of bowls with water. I have a huge bowl collection. You can't really have too many bowls. And then if I want to sort it, I can sort it. Like I could put all the beet greens in one bowl, that kind of thing. But I'm going to fill these up. And then I'm going to let them soak. Kind of do this. I could give the water a rinse and put new water in once if they're really dirty. So let them soak really cold water so that they kind of plump back up from being in this hot heat. And then once they're done, I just lay out dish towels and I let them dry on the dish towel. And then after they have dried, which, you know, takes a few hours, you can come in and turn them over a little bit if you want, but usually these are like filled. Then what I do is I just roll them up in my dish towel and I store the dish towel rolled up and folded in a Ziploc baggie and I put that in the fridge. And that's how I store all my greens. As easy as that. You could certainly get a salad spinner. I don't like extra stuff. Like I'll use these bowls for everything. I use my dish towels for everything. It does come in handy to have a salad spinner. You can have your greens right away. You don't have to wait for them to dry. But this is my system. It works really well. When you're harvesting greens, you want to work, well, harvesting anything really, but especially these little baby greens, you want to work fast because you can see these are already wilted. These are at the bottom of that basket. And I was dealing with integrating chickens at the same time I was harvesting all this. So the great thing about this cold water is if I leave it here for a few minutes, this is gonna bring it back to life. It's gonna plump it back up. And this will be a nice, full, beautiful bowl soon. Buys you a little time if you need to do something else outside. So these can sit in these cold bowls of water. You can even add ice cubes and just let them hang out. And then you can rinse the water if you need to. You can put the water in your plants. Great way to feed house plants and not forget about them while we're gardening outside, rather than just dump it down the drain. So here is dill, parsley, and a lot of arugula mixed with a few baby greens. And that's just gonna dry, and then I'm gonna roll it up, store it in the fridge. I may separate out the herbs, give them their own little spot. Probably throw them over here. Give them their own towel. Like that. And then if I decide I want to freeze some of this parsley or dry any of it, I can certainly do that. But at least this way it's taken care of and I can make a decision later if I'm not sure what I want to do now. Not beautiful. I only have 1 parsley plant and 2 dill plants. And I'm getting a lot off of them. This is the first like huge big harvest I've done of these greens. We've been eating off of them for probably, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks, I'd say. But just little bits here and there. So today I really had to kind of go for it and just grab as much as I could. So I'm harvesting some beet greens, not every green off the plant, just a couple, the bigger ones. I'm harvesting around the lettuce, so I'm not harvesting the heart. I'm doing like a cut and come again method with all of those. And then I've got a ton of baby greens and a lot of arugula, and I'm just grabbing the arugula at any stage that I feel like. And then I've done some high intensity lettuce plantings. So you take seeds and you plant them. You don't worry about spacing. You make the rows about 4 inches apart, so as they grow up, they're actually supporting themselves, and it's just this big bounty of lettuce. And the way you harvest that is you just come in with a knife and you just cut some off, and then it grows back. Really cool. So that's kind of a mixture of everything today. I've still got a couple bowls soaking, and we are going to weigh this. We're going to weigh everything, or hopefully try to weigh everything this year, so we can get a good idea of what we're growing. So here's that sad wilty lettuce. It's all plumped up. Beautiful. If it's cool enough out inside, this is, you know, you really don't have to worry about time sensitivity, letting it dry. If it's super humid and you're really like hot inside, I just do this to kind of encourage the drying process a little bit. And then here is the high intensity lettuce that I just kind of cut off. That's beautiful. It's gonna be a week of salads. Not pretty.